Back with more Heartstopper. This is episode 6 of season 2. Very excited to see what's going to happen next. Apologies for the kind of not so great lighting. I promise I'm not a ghost. I have not died. Unless something truly terrible happens in this episode and I do die. I guess maybe it's foreshadowing. But yeah, it's very, very, very late here. It's currently late Monday night. I've been at work and, haven't really had any time to record because of life. But selfishly, I want to finish the season and see everything that happens so I don't get spoiled on anything online. And also, I just want to get these reactions out as quickly as possible to you guys who are kind of waiting for them. And I must say, the response to the first 5 reactions, as with season 1, you guys have been so lovely and wonderful and wholesome. So thank you for a wonderful kind of reaction experience to return to after, a bit of a gap. So yeah, you've been incredibly kind and generous in all your responses to this season. And that's just, that's what the show is so beloved for, I think, in that I think it brings out the best in people for the most part, which is, a lovely thing. So yeah, I'm just trying to get these out as quick as I can for both you guys and for myself. So that will probably mean a lot of the time it's going to be quite late here. So to try and improve the video quality as best I can, I've got a big ass ring light here because I'm only going to be able to record these late. But, if it gets the reactions out, I don't think we mind too much. And I'm just so excited to see what's going to happen next. Last episode was fantastic. Tao and Elle seems to finally, be a thing. Hopefully, if it's not already official, it better be bloody official soon, or I will scream. Nick and Charlie were adorable. Obviously, Charlie's kind of still going through it. He fainted in the last episode, but he opened up to Nick about, his kind of eating disorder, which was, I think, handled very delicately and wonderfully, and I'm sure it will continue to be so. So much was going down, and it ended off with Nick and Charlie going off to meet Nick's dad. So I'm assuming we're going to see how that goes in this episode, along with more Paris shenanigans. Paris shenanigans. No, that doesn't work. Scrap that. And yeah, I'm just really excited to see what's going to happen next. I've loved this season so far. And yeah, without further ado, let's just dive into the next episode.
Would you feel better if I went with you? No, please come with me.
Nick's been able to do so much of this kind of moving forward and feeling more comfortable with himself because Charlie's there.
When he was younger, he would visit every summer. When do you graduate? It must be soon now.
I've still got 2 more years left.
Perhaps someday soon. Now,
I get the feeling it's always someday soon with this man.
You doing okay? I think so.
I love that they always check up on each other. If you leave
Sorry,
now...
boys. Something has come up and I just can't get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm coming to England next week. Small business trip.
Well, that'll be fun.
You should come to dinner. David will want to see you.
I miss that boy.
David.
We'll
Oh.
see. I talked to your mother. Les filles adorent les joueurs de rugby.
Oh,
David
God.
avait plein de petites copines quand il avait ton âge.
Oh, God. At the end of the day, this man fumbled Olivia Colman, so that says all it needs to, really.
There'll be other chances.
There'll be that dinner, and I'm sure your brother will be a prick.
Me and Elle kissed.
No way.
No, you didn't.
We kissed.
Ah.
Proud of you.
Oh, Sam.
I thought it was a mistake, but it wasn't a mistake.
And then we kissed again. I kissed her that time.
Oh my god, no, you didn't.
They're going to burst into summer loving any second. Oh, is Isaac going to be there? Oh, Isaac. Yes. Oh, I love them all. You two need to make out more. I insist.
So, like, are we...
Oh, I'm so pleased.
I know I've been stressed about coming out. I don't think I realised how stressed out you've been about it.
Oh,
I get stressed about everything. You're not special, John. It doesn't
Me.
matter how I feel about it anyway. You're the one who's going through it.
he wants to go through it with you.
Boys! Past 11.
Oh,
In your room. Pretty sure I did the exact same thing at that age.
Oh, and you. Bye, Mummy. Baby. Come on.
I love that he's really shy around Mr. J, and everyone else he's like, I will kill you. Oh my god.
I've got plans. Big plans.
Oh boy. Wow. How much money do you have, Isaac? If he's quick, they're free. They're so sweet. It's just wholesome. I've run out of things to say, honestly. I ran out of things to say in season 1, to be fair. It's just wholesome.
Excuse me?
Mm.
What are you doing?
Recharging.
Genuinely one of the best TV couples in years. Like, right here.
Stay here for a bit.
If not ever. Oh my.
Right. Come on. We're gonna be late. I hate you. No, you like me.
Mm.
I really do.
Everything has to be perfect for time. It's a princess.
Ah. Oh my. Oh, this is gonna be bad. Oh, but this is gonna be good.
Get out.
It's a pig.
Oh. You've bought a lot of new books that you need to finish. It's okay. Here we go.
I do have a crush on someone else though.
Oh, do you?
I'm sorry.
Oh boy. Oh. Oh, the leaf just kind of falling to the floor. Oh. Oh, I feel bad for both of them.
We keep escaping parties to hang out with each other.
Hmm.
Are we gonna do it every time?
I hope so.
So,
I said it first.
I'm running away this time.
Look how far they've come.
What? Me and my boy come in, yeah?
No.
What do you mean?
No.
Come on, man, everyone's here. Can I not just...
No, you're not there.
I just wanted to say I'm sorry. I know I've said some homophobic stuff in the past, but I feel like I know better now. And I'll never say anything like that again. So, are we cool? Can we come in? No.
Yes, that's the correct answer. Don't believe a word he bloody says.
Imogen got a boyfriend last year and then stopped texting me. Oh, that's not happened. No, you stopped texting me. What is it?
Drama. Oh god.
I dare Charlie to kiss Ben.
Oh god.
No, this game is so stupid.
Leave then.
I'm tired anyway.
Good. Bye.
Who gave you the hickey? What? Can we just
Oh.
move on?
Is he gonna turn?
I know who it was.
Oh shit.
Me. We're dating.
Oh my god, I called it.
Really cute.
We're okay with people knowing.
I'm sorry to ruin this very lovely moment, but I think I'm gonna be sick.
Oh god. I felt like I let out a sigh of relief there. Like on Nick's behalf.
I'm going to pretend I believe you have food poisoning.
I'll get you a sit back.
Oh, oh no, that's not good.
Nervous, but we'll be okay. Yeah.
You can share a bed. What makes me nervous is that it's super happy and there's still 2 episodes left. Oh boy.
I'm not sure I'm ready to do anything more than kissing.
No,
Yeah, I think that's a bit soon. One big step per day, I think, is more than fine.
I only want to do it if you did. If you didn't ever want to do it, then I wouldn't either.
No.
That sounded really cheesy.
Oh, this is so sweet. Oh, hello. I'd sit out there with you. Don't be sad, buddy.
I love you. I love you so much. I know it sounds like I didn't mean it because I'm drunk. I really do.
Aww.
It's so gross. I'm just sick. I don't care.
Oh, is it happening for everyone today?
You could just share my bed. No,
Oh, heck.
stupid.
Blimey. Aw. Even these two are wholesome. Honestly, it's getting ridiculous. See, I like that they can do a love story kind of in a similar way they're doing it with the teens, but with like an adult pairing as well. Oh, I don't know why I'm getting emotional with this. She's like, oh, so happy for them. Proud almost. Oh, that's it for Paris. We'll always have Paris. Yeah, what's next for those two, I suppose? Aw, and Imogen liked it? An ally? Oh boy, oh boy. You're not going to believe this. But this was my favourite episode of the season so far, I think. Oh man, this was so good. Again, so much can happen in such a short space of time, and it's just everything. They're fire on all cylinders. Like, what else is there to say at this point? Like, this show's just so good, just so good. I could just weep with happiness. Like, I think it takes something. I think it can be quite easy for like a show or a movie to do something sad, or to pull on the classic heartstrings of like an animal dies, or a couple breaks up super dramatically or something like that, and all very well and good. That's going to get some tears out of people because sad situations. To make people happy cry, I think, is truly skillful. To kind of get that out of people to the point when they're like opening up, weeping with joy and happiness at something that they're seeing. And I think Heartstopper just manages that, and that is so bloody impressive, honestly. It's such a special show. I know I keep badgering on about it, and I can't believe I nearly didn't, like, not even like nearly didn't react to it. I nearly didn't watch it at all because I was like, well, it's probably not my thing. Bloody is my thing. God, it's just so good. I don't know what else to really say. I say that, I will now talk for about 20 minutes. But yeah, some big moments. It feels like the bit with Nick's dad at the start was a completely different episode, Like, that's just how the pacing of the show works so well. Like, so much went down in like half an hour. We still have 2 episodes left. That's what makes me nervous. For the most part, pretty happy note. That felt like a happy ending, like season finale-esque kind of episode, but it's still 2 episodes of the season. They've set up a dinner with Nick's family and his dad coming, and we're gonna have to see Nick's arsehole brother again, David. So I'm sure that's gonna cause some drama. I imagine we're gonna be getting that. There's the prom as well, so maybe dinner next episode, then prom, or prom then dinner. So maybe that's the setup for the last 2 episodes. But, it felt like, for a lot of the main couples, a big kind of happy ending. For now-ish. We even got like a fuck off to Harry, which was brilliant. I loved that. Just, Some people don't deserve to be forgiven. Absolutely not. Just get stuffed. And especially someone like Harry, who was just saying that so he could get in the party. You know, I don't believe for a second that he's like, well, I've thought about the error of my ways. Maybe, yeah, I'll never say that stuff anymore, so are we good? No, we're not. Fuck off. So yeah, we even got that. So that was great. Obviously, not all sunshine and rainbows. Tara and Darcy, you know, obviously Darcy saying I love you is huge, but she was drunk, and I'm, you know, completely agree with her that she meant it. But I think now that that's been said, is that going to cause some awkwardness for Darcy? Is she going to feel like a pressure now to say it when sober? So is that distance still going to be there? Is she still going to kind of deflect away from that? It seems like maybe that's what they were getting at with that last shot of them on the coach. Even the two teachers, you know, like, what's next for those two? Where did they go from that? You know, they kind of couldn't even look at each other there. Maybe that's just like some sweet innocent kind of like, oh, what's going to be next for us? Or it might just be, I don't know, a bit of angst for them. Who can say? And yeah, obviously the stuff I've already talked about with like the family dinner and stuff coming up. So there's some angst to come, I have no doubt. You know, it's not all going to be sunshine and rainbows. As much as I would love it to be, but that's just not the reality. And also, you know, Isaac, he's got some stuff going on. I felt so bad for him and James. Let's talk about them now since we're on the topic of it. Definitely, I would say they're going down the route of Isaac realizing that he's asexual. You know, I think he likes James, but you know, he just doesn't feel something when kissing him. He feels like he should feel more than there was, and I mean, I don't think he's got it worked out right now. So, you know, how do you react to something you don't know how you feel about? That's got to be just awful kind of process. You're trying to process something, but you don't even know what it is you're trying to process. Like being in Isaac's shoes, that must be so confusing and scary. So just him kind of, you know, those little moments of isolation that he was having, even before that scene with him and James, you know, when all the couples were like running off together late at night in the hotel. I loved that Tara was like, come on, join in, come with me. Very wholesome. And then again, he ends the night alone on that balcony with everyone else is kind of coupled up and asleep. I just felt so bad for him. And obviously James doesn't know, I think, what Isaac's struggling with, so he doesn't understand that. He might just think, oh, he doesn't feel the same, he doesn't like me, or, you know, I'm a bad kisser, and that's going to cause some complex for him. Hopefully, I'm sure that those two can talk it out, and maybe, you know, maybe James can help Isaac on this discovery for himself. So it definitely seems like that's the route they're taking with it, I'm sure. But, you know, good on James for putting himself out there like that, and, you know, it sucks right now, but I'm sure once Isaac hopefully finds some clarity about, you know, how he feels about things and how he may identify as a result of these kind of learned experiences, James can be like, okay, so it wasn't me, it's just, you know, Isaac still has to work some stuff out. So I imagine that's where that will go. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. And I know the guy who plays James, I know he had a little part at the end of season 1 when Nick leads Charlie off the rugby field, and I think, you know, retroactively, I think they've made that boy James like turns to Mr. J and he's like, aren't you going to stop him, sir? I'm pretty sure that's now retroactively just James. And I guess they were really impressed with him in that little bit and made him like a main, like a more of a major character in this season. That's definitely paid off, because I really like James, and I think you know, the actor who plays him does a really great job. I mean, like the entire cast. And the fact that it's allowing Isaac some time to shine as well, and not just in the sense of like, oh, there's a bookshop and, you know, the gag of Isaac just piling up all these books, because we know that's his thing and he knows he loves reading, but that they're adding some depth to Isaac as a character as well is just so good. And, you know, I'm liking the slow burn of that, and hopefully that still is like a talking point for the next 2 episodes with those two. So we'll see where it goes. I feel really bad for them both, because obviously they're both just completely innocent parties in, you know, life just being life, sadly. But I think the pieces can be in place to really iron out those kinks with that, and hopefully they will find some kind of nice resolution to it. But for now, it's quite angsty and sad. But really well done, I think, so far. I'm not asexual, so I can't speak to, I'm sure there's more insight to be gained from that, but I just think it's cool to have that representation in there. I know Sex Education had a character for like one-off episode character. I think she was in like a play with Jackson in that show, who's kind of struggling with like kiss scenes and stuff, and she talked to Jean in that show. In case you're not familiar, she's like a sex therapist, and they kind of work out together that she's asexual. And I think that's kind of, they only really addressed that in one episode with that character, then that was it. But the fact that we had Isaac, who's been a presence from the show since the beginning, and they're doing this story with him, I think is really cool. And again, I might be wrong and that's not where they're going with it, but I'm pretty sure it is at this point. But yeah, that's really good stuff. I love that. Harry just being a knobhead as always. I love that they still didn't let him into the party. Doing the bare minimum of apologising, and absolutely don't buy for a second that he really meant it. I think he will have his moments, like in the previous episode where he's like, "Oh, stop picking on them, guys," and he like actually defended Nick and Charlie for a bit from the teasing. I think that's kind of how people like Harry live with themselves, because every now and again they'll be nice just because they feel like it, but then they stop feeling powerful, so they'll be a dickhead again. I think that's kind of how he justifies and actually gets out of bed every day, not thinking, well, I'm a massive prick. So yeah, I'm glad that Charlie was still like, absolutely not, F off. And maybe that would be a big wake-up call for Harry now. Be like, well, I actually need to mean this and actually work on myself. But I'm not counting my chickens just yet. And then Ben, he's still got shit going on. Like, fine. That shit has made you an arsehole. But you are still kind of choosing to be a bit of a manipulative arsehole as a result of that. Instead of just, working on yourself, you're still trying to get involved in Charlie's business or Nick's business or Imogen's business. And that's just not helpful for anyone, is it, Ben? So the sooner he realises that, the better. Kind of being isolated and alone at the party, boo-hoo. He's still not getting a lot of sympathy from me, to be honest. But I don't think the show is portraying him in a way that's like, you're supposed to feel sorry for him. I think you can. I think there's stuff in there to be like, he is a teenager trying to work stuff out. But I also like that, you don't have to forgive him. Because Charlie won't, and Charlie shouldn't. Just the same with Harry. You can sometimes, I think, make up for the bad choices or the bad decisions you've made, the bad things you've said to people, but it doesn't mean you have any right to think that they're undone after you've made amends for them. You can still hold that resentment for someone. You might have people who have wronged you in the past, and you move on with it and everything's fine. It's let bygones be bygones. But there could also be people in your life you're like, we get along great, but I will never forgive you for this one particular thing, but we still get on. And I think that could kind of be a situation with, characters like Harry and Ben and stuff. So a lot of nuance to it, and again, it's done very well. I mean, he's pretty bloody one note, let's not lie. But he's written to be that way. So yeah. Maybe something will happen with either one of those two. I'm not super excited about the prospect of that because I don't want them in my face. As lovely as I'm sure the actors who play them are, and they do a great job with their parts because I can't stand either of them. In fact, I saw Sebastian Croft, who plays Ben. I saw him in the train station in my hometown a couple of months ago, which was very fun. I didn't say hello because I was very shy, but he did walk past me. He had like a clipboard and stuff. He looked very official, so he's probably there doing some kind of work-related project. And I went, "Oh, it's Ben," and just watched him walk away without saying hi. Because didn't want to bother him. But, that's fun. I'm sure he's nice. So yeah, that's those two. Less said about them, the better. And then, yes, Stefan, I think, is Nick's dad. I think they've kind of set the stage for him to be quite a distant father who's clearly, he's not a big part of Nick's life, and vice versa. He seems to have other things going on. He certainly maybe doesn't purposefully have bigger priorities than his literal child, but he does, which is unfortunate, and I don't think reflects too good on him. You know, I think he was putting a lot of like, you don't visit anymore, you know, you don't do this, you don't do that, and I'm like, well, you don't do anything either, you know, it takes two to tango. And Nick has constantly texted him, and you weren't replying to those texts. So it seems like he was putting the blame on Nick for them not seeing each other that often or not being quite close. Whereas I think a lot of the blame is on his shoulders. So again, not a great look for him. And you know, he didn't even know when Nick was due to graduate. He doesn't know anything beyond the fact that he likes rugby. All he was doing was saying, "Oh, isn't your sibling great? I love your sibling. Your sibling has lots of girlfriends." So, you know, I'd like to think when/if Nick does come out to him, you know, he can alter his behaviour and would be supportive and stuff like that. Because, you know, I'm not going to be like, villainize him for not knowing his son's bisexual. You know, so it's a complicated thing. You can see both sides of that, but you know, I think what really will tell how I feel about him is probably this inevitable dinner, and if Nick comes out to him there and where that would come from. But you know, it's kind of a very distant father deal right now. Seems to have a busy life and doesn't have a place for Nick in it, and doesn't necessarily seem to want one or fight for a place for Nick in his life either. While still being like, Nick, why aren't you seeing me more often? So, you know, trips to Paris are expensive, Stefan. That's why. How about that? But yeah, we'll see if there's more to Stefan in this season. It seems like they're setting that up to be the case, since he was like, I'm in England next week. It feels like we're going to be covering more than a week with these last two episodes. So I'm guessing we're going to be getting that family dinner. And yeah, I did like that, you know, Charlie was really there for Nick in that moment. And, you know, they've kind of made that promise to tell each other when they're going through shit. And I really like that they're already sticking to that and checking on each other all the time to see if they're okay. You know, they're so worried about each other's priorities in a way that Stefan isn't. You know, again, that says it all, really. You know, Nick's now considering, like, how him not coming out to people has affected Charlie's mental health negatively. Charlie's like, well, you know, it's your coming out, it's your journey. Don't worry about me. So they're just classic worrying about each other. But I love how supportive they are for each other. And Nick came out to a whole group of people, which is a huge step, and that was a really great scene, really emotional kind of little moment. I got very teary-eyed in that montage of them in the bed at the end. Like, they can just be themselves, and that must be so freeing for Nick in that moment. And again, they still had like some boundaries in place. They still made a huge leap, but when Nick thought maybe something was going to go down, he was like, you know, kissing is where I'm comfortable. I don't want to, you know, I'm not ready for any more than that. And obviously that's not what Charlie was pushing for, but, you know, it was good to have that clarification and for Nick to say, you know, no, these are my boundaries right now. And, you know, Charlie was obviously okay with it because he's not there yet either. And where he was reassuring him, like, if you never want to do it, then I won't either. Just wholesome. I love them. I know I talk about it every time, but Kit and Joe have such amazing chemistry. It's insane. And I just love those two together. Nick and Charlie are just incredible. They really are like the heart and soul of the show, obviously. And yeah, it's just so, it makes me happy to see them happy. And I think that, again, that's just the joy that Heartstopper brings, and, you know, the power of it to make people happy cry rather than have to make everything sad so you cry at that. Not that there's anything wrong with shows doing that, because, of course, it's good to be emotionally affected by shows. It shows your investment in them. But it is a nice change to, you know, feel like crying at a show because it's so joyous and wholesome, rather than depressing and sad and they've just killed all your favourite characters off. So yeah, Nick and Charlie, genuinely one of the best TV couples, I think, in recent years, if not in history. They're definitely going to go down in history, like Heartstopper will in general, and Nick and Charlie definitely will. I think Tara and Elle will, and Tara and Darcy, all like these main couples in Heartstopper. rightfully will go down in history, I'm sure. I'm already excited for season 3 and to see more of these characters and see what's going to go. It feels so good knowing we've already got a season 3 in the bag, so I don't have to worry about any cancellation nonsense. Renew Shadow and Bone, please, Netflix. Please do. So yeah, I love Nick and Charlie. I love that they're so supportive of each other. I love how wholesome they are. So pleased and happy for Nick for coming out to everyone. You know, I think he definitely did it for himself and did it for Charlie a bit in that, obviously, that truth and dare kind of circle nonsense moment. But yeah, it felt like they'd naturally built to that really well. And I don't think there's anything Nick can't do, even if he doesn't think he can do certain things in like his journey and whatever. I genuinely don't think there's anything he can't do if Charlie's if Charlie's there next to him. I really do think he can do anything. I don't know if he believes that yet, but I think he will come to kind of learn and realise that in time. Because, I think they need each other. They rely on each other so heavily. In a good way, in a very wholesome way. I really do think they lift each other up and champion each other, and they are each other's kind of biggest fans. And that really kind of aids their story in an amazing way. So I can't wait to see it continue. And I love the big step that Nick took in this one. It's just legendary behaviour, basically, and very wholesome. And that whole little sequence of them, finally getting to share a bed, finally getting some alone time. I'm enjoying it while I can, because the fact that we are getting that and there's still 2 episodes makes me quite nervous. I feel like we're going to get an awful, sad cliffhanger or something to do with those 2. But maybe I'll be wrong. I would love to be wrong. But yeah, wholesome, love them. Who haven't I talked about? The teachers, shall we go for them? Mr. Farouk and Mr. Ajayi. I need to listen out to someone saying his name so I know how to pronounce it properly. I really like that they have their own little love story going on in the background as well, just the 2 teachers. Kind of polar opposites attract, I think, is kind of how it's going with those 2. I love that Mr. Farouk is just stone cold to anyone else apart from Mr. J, and he just melts. It's very wholesome, very sweet. I love that a relationship between 2 adults is presented in Heartstopper in exactly the same way as Nick and Charlie's relationship, or Tao and Elle, or Tara and Darcy. They really present it as this sweet little love story, because that can happen to anyone at any age. And that's what Mr. Farouk was kind of talking about. He didn't realise he was gay into his late 20s, so he missed out on his Heartstopper, basically. But I think what people have found with Heartstopper as a show, and what Mr. Farouk has kind of discovered with Mr. J now, is that you don't necessarily have your Heartstopper love story in your teens. You might find it very late on in life. And I really like that, it's portrayed as sweetly and as wholesomely and tentatively between 2 adults in the show as all the teenage romances as well. And just putting them on equal kind of weight, because they can, a relationship in your teens can be just as important and influential on you as one, when you're an adult. So I really, really love how they did that. And they're just a sweet pairing. And I think Mr. Farouk has come out of nowhere and is rapidly climbing the list of my favourite characters, just because the actor is so good. He's so funny. And then, you have moments like this, the kind of bittersweetness of him kind of missing out on, a whole kind of teenagehood, I guess, of him as himself, but he didn't realise that until much later. Then Mr. J, who seems to have been I guess Mr. J's the Charlie to Mr. Farouk's Nick. And, it's nice because Mr. J was kind of the one supporting Charlie when he was going through all that in season 1, having gone through it himself by the sounds of it. And he seems to have been very sure of who he was and his sexuality and stuff when he was young. Mr. Farouk found it a bit later on. Like Nick talked about last season, he's I wish I met Charlie earlier. I wish I knew then what I know now. I think there are some parallels there between his 2 relationships. So it is nice that I think Mr. J helped Charlie navigating that kind of period of his life. and I think he can kind of help Mr. Farouk through that period of his life as well, even though Mr. Farouk and Charlie are different ages. But their story could be exactly the same, which is great, and I really like how they're portraying that. And yeah, I think those two are sweet together. I hope we get a bit more of their kind of little love story going on in the background. I did remember that there was like a romance between the teachers on the school trip when I read the comic, but you know, I didn't know if that was going to be like front and center in the show or anything like that, or how they were going to handle it, if they were going to handle it. So you know, it was cool that they still kept that in. You know, because yeah, it can happen at any age, that kind of story. So that was really cool. Love those two. And then Tao and Elle, they just kind of had vibes in this episode. I love that, you know, we kind of had a little summer loving from Greece moment when they were telling, you know, their respective friend groups about their first kiss and everything, and seems to be official. They were just there making out for the whole episode, and I love the bit when they were sharing a bed and Tao put Elle's glasses on and just like, I'm Elle, I like art. They're just very sweet and very wholesome. Again, makes me nervous right now that they're just happy because there's still 2 episodes left. Obviously, Elle kind of, I guess, has to make a decision about her future at the art school as well, and that might mean moving away. So there's going to be drama to come, so I'm just going to enjoy the nice Tao Elle are finally together vibes, because they were just there having a great time in this episode. You know, just vibing. And Tao was obviously in his element at that party as well. I love the bit where he was like kissing Charlie. That was great. And as soon as someone brought up like the hickey and stuff, Tao and Elle were both like, ugh, can we move on from this? Like, instantly come to Charlie's defense. Just what a great set of friends. So those two are very wholesome. You know, there wasn't, I guess, much to their story necessarily in this episode, but because there was so much story happening for everyone else, I like that they were just there kind of making things official. And yeah, just enjoying their honeymoon phase, I guess. So I'm all for it. I love those two together very, very, very much. Then I guess the last main thing's Tara and Darcy. I like that it was Tara's birthday on a school trip. That must be a very weird feeling to have your birthday on a school trip, especially one that's like you're in Paris, you know, one abroad. It's not like you go into a theme park and it just so happens to be your birthday on the same day for a school trip or something. Like, this is a very different vibe. So that must be weird to deal with, to not have like her family there and everything. But I love that Darcy was determined to go all out, make it a really good day for her princess. I love that Tara had like a few different crowns to wear throughout the day. That was very funny. Darcy's shirt that she gave to Tara with like her face all over it. So yeah, that was all great, very wholesome. I already mentioned the bit where Tara was kind of encouraging Isaac to, you know, join and explore the hotel with them, and he seemed a bit isolated because she's great. And classic Darcy, plans go awry, maybe there's a bit of chaos thrown in, and yeah, just everyone remembers their first drug throwing up. I ruined my first group night out throwing up, and we were all home by 11 p.m. I lost the use of my legs. I was dragged down the stairs by my friends as security told me to leave the pub we were in. I threw up in a bin. My glasses fell out into the bin. I kept throwing up onto my glasses. My friend fished them out for me. I passed out on the toilet seat, just throwing up. I was just throwing up like this, and then I passed out for 45 minutes. Woke up to my friends on either side of me on the other cubicles shouting my name. And then, yeah, so we've all been there, is what I'm trying to say. And that's a lot more embarrassing than Darcy's little incident here. But hopefully she has learnt that lesson. And, you know, I guess she wanted to, you know, party so hard and feel like she had to have, you know, an amazing time and make everyone have an amazing time, so that Tara had like the best day ever and the best party ever, that she felt alcohol was necessary, which isn't always the case. And yeah, I loved everyone's very real reactions to that, because alcohol, let's be honest, alcohol's disgusting for the most part. So I did like particularly Nick and Charlie's reaction to it, being like, gross. And then yeah, Darcy, I think, just does everything at about 200%. So obviously she kind of went a bit too far, got a bit drunk, threw up. I did like Mr. Fruit being like, yeah, you got food poisoning, did you? And he's going to let her off because, you know, Mr. J is kind of softening him up a bit, which is nice. So yeah, I enjoyed their kind of Darcy's, albeit failure of an attempt, I guess, to give Tara, you know, the ultimate birthday party. But still, it was a good time until she threw up on the bed, but it is what it is. And then, you know, albeit drunk, Darcy did kind of tell Tara that she loves her too. So that was a sweet moment, but again, is it going to be a case of, you know, is there going to be pressure to say it again now that she said it once? Maybe she's not actually as ready for that as she thought she was when she was drunk, for obvious reasons. You know, you get drunk, you lose a lot of your inhibitions. I certainly bloody do. So yeah, we'll see where that leads. But again, some progress is being made in that. You know, they really were going kind of back and forth with the Tara and Darcy plot line, I think, for the past couple of episodes. So to see some real development in that was very cool. And we still have, you know, 2 episodes to really address it and push forward with that as well. So yeah, I probably have more to say. I probably could go more in depth with some of these, but I've been recording for 1 hour and 5 minutes. It's nearly midnight, so I need to go to bed. But yeah, I adored this episode. Probably my favourite of the season so far. This might be my favourite episode of Heartstopper so far. I'd have to rewatch season 1 and see if there's any like big standout episodes that might rival any of these. But I really do think season 2 is firing on all cylinders. Season 1 was as well, to be fair. But I really do think, you know, the development of the characters and the story and the maturity of season 2 and everything new that they've added in, I think really has elevated it. So yeah, I'm excited to see where the last 2 episodes kind of take us. And yeah, I don't know when they're going to be coming just yet. Again, as I told you, as I'm recording, it's Monday evening, very nearly Tuesday morning. I definitely won't be able to record tomorrow because I'm going out to the cinema straight after work. So I doubt I'll be able to... I might be able to edit this for YouTube, but I don't think I'll be able to record any. So maybe Wednesday or Thursday would be the next chance I get to record anything. And then I think I'll just binge, if I get the chance, I will binge the last 2 episodes and just watch them together. But either way, hopefully you have once again enjoyed the reaction. I am trying to get these up as quickly as possible, but thank you for your patience. You know, no one's been saying, you know, I want the next one now. I'm rushing or anything. You know, as always, the Heartstopper YouTube community has been very, very kind and sweet. So thank you for that. And yeah, I think that's going to be everything for now. And until my next reaction, thanks for watching.